Hi, and congratulations on completing week 1 in Systematic Theology ST5534. We're off to a great start, and I wanted to just go through a little bit on my expectations so that we can correct any challenges as you complete the course. The first thing to do is make sure and go and watch a video that I'm about to create on how to do proper Turabian footnoting and bibliographies. I've noticed that a significant portion of the class is having trouble with some of that formatting, and I think in 4 or 5 minutes I can at least illuminate some of the issues so you can gain confidence in footnoting as we move on. But moving on, let's go to look at systematic theology and what we were doing this week and kind of what were the keys on how I graded. And on whole, the class did really well. We had 2 assignments and a discussion post. The first one was to compare and contrast Erickson's discussion about theological method, his 10 steps, and compare it to Grudem. Now, clearly, if we have an assignment where I am asking you to take a specific person like Wayne Grudem or Erickson, then I'm wanting you to outline their position. So on assignment 1-1, I was looking for a clear discussion of Erickson's 10 steps, and then adding some quotes from Grudem, which required some outside research, to really come to what these two people feel is the appropriate method for conducting systematic theology. I think a well-rounded paper and one that scored 100% is one that also looked outside of Erickson and Grudem to either other systematic theologies or other articles or papers. It's easy for this class because you've got Logos. So you can go in and look up multiple citations, but 100 is taking those two and then adding not only your own interpretation, but other outside research. So I was looking for an in-depth comparison of Erickson's 10 steps with Grudem using citations from both. Identification of the strengths and weaknesses of each method using examples, and those needed to be biblical examples as well as academic examples. Discussion and conclusions in light of the 2 different theological methods, and then biblical and academic support and the use of outside research. So at the master's level, what I'm looking for is engagement with the reading, and that's through quotations and citations. I'm looking for outside thought and outside research, and then bringing that all together with good, solid discussion and conclusions. So that's what I'm looking for on every paper, especially assignment 1-1. So in assignment 1-2, you actually have a couple of options. And in a way, it sounds like the letter option must be simpler. And in fact, really from a grading perspective, whether you chose the letter or whether you chose a position statement, I am looking for the same information. It's just how do you couch that and what makes you feel, or what's more fun, I should say, from an assignment. So I'm looking for a review of the importance of theology in a seminary education. I'm looking for the use of biblical support to illustrate your conclusions and the use of academic citations and quotations that support your thesis. And that's whether it's a paper or whether it's a letter. Both from the reading and from outside research. And then in both, I'm looking for at least a paragraph. Now, the letter would have more of this, but the inclusion of personal reflection. And on the letter, I have to say the class did really well with the personal reflection side. Most of the class did include biblical support and academic support, and that's awesome. Keep it up. If you didn't, you'll notice that your score was in the B range, somewhere between 80 and 90. But in the master's class, that's actually a little lower at an 80. But a score in the 80s if I felt like your biblical support or academic support were lacking. Finally, on the discussion, you were to describe your opinion about the value and importance of theology before you started the class, the view of other Christians, and so forth. Again, and there was also a possibility where you could look at Erickson, who discusses the issues of contextualization. And in both of those, I'm looking for an analysis of Erickson and interaction with the reading. Discussion of contextualization and culture. And by the way, I really enjoyed the ongoing engagement in discussion with a few of the class members. Not only did it help me kind of in my thoughts on an article that I'm working on the difference between contextualization and synchronization or syncretism, but also just seeing you interact as a class was excellent. Interaction with potential questions from your community, use of biblical support, use of academic citations. You're getting to see a pattern here where on all assignments, I am looking for academic support from the reading, academic support from outside research, biblical support, personal reflection, and analysis. And that's whether it's a discussion or whether it's a paper. Those are the things I'm looking for. Be careful of grammar and citations. I am putting up a citation video in a few minutes, but several students had sentence structure problems and wording problems like I'm having in this video. One thing to keep in mind is Bible, whether it's in a discussion post or whether it's in a paper, is always capitalized. It really bugs me when people do not capitalize Bible. I marked off a little bit, but in discussion posts, I'll be marking off a point, which on a 20-point discussion, that's a lot. If people from now on continue to not capitalize Bible, biblical, however, is not capitalized. Scripture is capitalized. So please keep those straight when writing papers. As a theology class, there's no excuse to not capitalize Scripture and Bible. I think we're off to a good start this semester. On average, scores were a little higher than average, and I think that's great. As you've done, please call me or email me with any questions. I'm staying put this week, so for the next 7 days, I'll be in one place where I'm fairly easy to find. Have a great day. Thanks for all the work so far this semester, and I look forward to the next 7 weeks.